you've booked your flight, you're coming to Kyoto. Now what? You need to find somewhere to stay. But first you need to work out which area to stay in.
In this video, I introduce 3 districts that will be of interest to the first-time visitor. Downtown Kyoto, Higashiyama, which includes the old geisha quarter of Gion, and finally the area around Kyoto Station.
London has Piccadilly Circus, New York has Times Square, Kyoto has, well, it's got this, and it's a crossroads that has the Shijo Road running west over to Gion and then south down to the station. And as far as the centre of town goes, it'll kind of have to do. Centre of town is a good place for shops, obviously with department stores aplenty. And underneath here is the Hankyu private railway, which will take you to places like Osaka and Kobe. This is Sanjo, and it's both a bridge and a road. Behind me is the Keihan station. You can get to Osaka from there. And on the other side of the river there's Pontocho and Kiyamachi, which run between Sanjo and Shijo and form the centre of Kyoto downtown. This is Pontocho, which is one of the geisha districts. It's also a little narrow alley which has bars and restaurants all the way down parallel to the river between Sanjo and Shijo. This is Kiyamachi Street, which runs parallel to Pontocho and Kawaramachi. If you don't mind being in the hustle and bustle of the city centre, you could do a lot worse than being around here. It's pretty much equal distances to most of the main attractions. You've got Higashiyama over the Shijo Bridge, and if you head north you'll end up at the Emperor's Palace and towards the Nijo Castle area. And it's good to be close to the river, especially around the summertime, where you can head down to the cafes which have an extended terrace over the river itself, and you can sit on there and enjoy the cool summer breeze after a day slogging around the hot city. Those terraces are called yuka, and a lot of the cafes along Pontocho have their own terrace or yuka out the back, which is a nice breezy way to spend the evening. First time in Kyoto? Higashiyama. This is southern Higashiyama, and around this area you find all kinds of quaint little streets and alleyways, sweet shops and cake shops, lots of traditional restaurants where you can only get in with a recommendation from somebody else. Higashiyama is kind of divided up into 2 parts, north and south. North Higashiyama is a good place to stay. It's a little bit away from the crowds, a bit quieter, with a few more options up in the hills. This is Okazaki Park, which is a little bit off the tourist trail, but it does have 2 things of note. Behind me is the big red torii gate, one of the largest in Japan, and in front of me is Heian Jingu, which is a model of the old Emperor's Palace. It was built a couple of hundred years ago to a scale of about 5/8 of the original. Another good feature of the park is the Starbucks and Roma Theatre complex. Unusually, the Starbucks has lots of outdoor seating and also a 3rd floor where you can work away quite happily on your computer. In this area we also have the Kyoto Zoo, as well as the beginning of the Philosopher's Path, which starts at around Nanzenji and heads all the way up to Ginkakuji, the Temple of the Silver Pavilion. If you want to stay somewhere that's best for connections to and from Kyoto, obviously Kyoto Station is the best way to go. The building is behind me and it has turned this area into a little bit of a destination of its own. Although if you do stay here, you're going to feel a little bit removed from where you feel like the action is, which is more downtown. But there's plenty of hotels, bars and restaurants around here to keep you occupied if you'll just stay here only overnight. Nearby we have Torji Temple, and not too far Tofukuji, and Fushimi Inari is just a short bus ride away.
So I hope that gives you a good overview of where you might want to stay when you visit Kyoto. Downtown, if you're happy in the hustle and bustle and want to have fairly equal distances to travel to the main attractions. Or the station area, if you're just in town for a short stay and also want to use Kyoto as a base to explore the Kansai area. Higashiyama is good if you want to feel like you're in the real Kyoto, where you might want to find accommodation up in the hills or be somewhere handy for Gion. Check my channel for more content related to Kyoto, which includes introductions to some of the lesser known temples.